The interrogators at the London cage were all hand-picked by the Commanding Officer Scotland himself. He was absolutely clear in what he wanted out of an interrogator. I mean, he once said that it's an art. Interrogation is an art. And interrogators are born. And you had different characters. You had some who were so-called soft interrogators, who would be kind. And then if things were getting a bit tough, they'd call in another interrogator who was tougher, and they would kind of play act. It was almost like a theatrical drama in many ways, and of course to the prisoner it was very real. If you didn't play ball, the interrogations were pretty lengthy. They could be 3 hours or more, and it's quite shocking actually. A lot of those take place in the middle of the night, and you could have a 3-hour interrogation, half-hour break, another 2-hour interrogation, pretty intense, under bright lights, very simple room. You could also be kept for weeks on end in solitary confinement. I mean, that did happen. Ultimately, they just kept going until the prisoner cracked. So why were the prisoners sent to the London cage and not anywhere else? These were the hardest to crack for intelligence purposes. They were believed to have important information depending on where they'd been captured. And the kind of information that Colonel Scotland needed was particularly about the training. You know, how had they been trained and how well trained were they? In fact, how well trained was the wider, for example, German army? Because if you could work that out, you could pinpoint its weaknesses. And there were some young Germans who were drafted in, particularly towards the end of the war, who'd had virtually no training. And of course, they were the easiest, particularly the easiest to interrogate. So that was very, very important. And also to understand the morale within Germany or in occupied German areas. You know, was the population surviving? Could we use that and turn that in propaganda purposes? And intelligence also on new weapons and new technology being used.